Okay, so this is a little video that I've wanted to do for a while now, and it's basically all about my favourite show and mixing it with fragrances. Now, probably Hill kind of gave me the idea that I could do something like this and it'd be interesting and sort of a good idea. And then Sal, Big Nap Sal, also did a video kind of related to it, all about like the women of Game of Thrones. So I've decided to do one, well, it's in two parts because it's so big, about all my favourite men, and then I chucked in a couple of women as well. So yeah, I hope you enjoy. Thanks, bye.
On the list, they're not really in any particular order, although the last one is my favourite. But one of my favourite characters from Game of Thrones is Qyburn. Now he's a bit of he becomes kind of Cersei's dark Meister, if you like. He's into all sorts of experiments, etc. In the TV series anyway. I think he might be going to be slightly different in the books. That's a different thing. But basically, he's like a bit of a crazy doctor, like a Dr. Mengele of Game of Thrones. Basically, he's into sort of doing human experiments. He's just into pushing the boundaries of science and what is known in a kind of very corrupt, dodgy way, testing on humans, testing on all sorts of things, using the dark arts and dark magic. And he's very manipulative, and he rises up from being kind of a disgrace kind of maester into being one of the most important people. And anyway, what scent I'd use for him is Interlude Man. For obvious reasons, from Amouage, for obvious reasons. It's a very dark, smoky, mysterious fragrance. And even that herbaceous side of that fragrance kind of is perfect for Qyburn, that kind of, you know, using the magic herbs and stuff to create all sorts of new noxious potions, and the smoke from it, and just the general darkness of his soul. So that's quite a brief one, and that's Interlude Man for Qyburn. Next on the list is Stannis. Stannis, who, in my opinion, throughout the books was kind of the rightful king, wasn't he, after Robert died? And Stannis was the one who more or less did all the grim jobs during the war for Robert, that helped get Robert the throne. And Stannis, as the older brother as well, he kind of got the shit end of the stick, didn't he? He got the crappy castle. It's quite a glum, miserable, realist character. He basically just sees things as they are. He's got no sort of humour, and he's realistic. I like Stannis, actually, and he does everything. He gets easily again manipulated by Melisandre to believe he's sort of the next chosen one, but he does it from a good angle, because rightly so, he believes he's the true king, doesn't he? And really, he was rightfully just for the throne. So yeah, I like Stannis as well. And he has quite a cold wife, and he gets involved with a kind of the fire gods and the fire priestesses. Anyway, what fragrance have I picked for him? Well, I've picked Moleculo 1. And the reason I've picked Moleculo 1 is because I think it perfectly represents Stannis, doesn't it? Kind of nothing to it. Some people can smell it and kind of get it. The rest of it's just kind of a plain scent, soft, woody, that kind of lingers around, and that ultimately defines Stannis, doesn't it? There's nothing flash about him, does its job, it's quite a good quality thing, and just, yeah, cracks on with it. So that's Moleculo 1 for Stannis. Next on the list is Thoros of Myr, or Thoros the Red Priest. Now Thoros is again one of my favourite characters, mainly in the series because he's played by Paul Kay, who I absolutely love, but I think he suits that role perfectly. Basically, he's not bad, he's not good, he's in the middle, isn't he? But he used to be a gentleman, and he used to be quite an important person and quite a warrior. And he, of course, keeps bringing people back to life who serve a purpose, and he serves the red god, doesn't he, as well? And he believes it's all for a reason. And he doesn't ask for much, he just drinks a lot, and that kind of red priest thing was his way of finding his way. He was also a part of the sort of the group of people that were fighting for Ned and the Starks against the Lannisters in that little mini war. So he is a good man, but he's also, a bit of a drunk, a bit of a dark character in some ways. What I've chosen for him is from Collage Fragrances, Blackbeard, and that I think is perfect with that kind of. He is a bit like Blackbeard in the sense that he kind of was a distinguished gentleman, and he kind of went into being free and sort of fighting for the people. In the same way you could have said Blackbeard did for a pirate. He was kind of fighting for the right cause. It wasn't just for the glory and the money, but it was to protect the little people. And that's what Thoros of Myr kind of represents a little bit in it. And of course he serves his purpose throughout it, and then gets darker, and then there's the dark tobacco in the fragrance, which you kind of imagine is very Thoros-like. Just a great fragrance for a great character, really. So that's Blackbeard from Collage, Kajal even. No, it's Collage for Thoros. Then one of my next favourites is Oberon. Now Oberon is just absolutely, utterly fantastic. He's a very flamboyant person, he's very good looking, he's very open to anything, let's say. He's very charismatic, he's very sexual, he's very funny, he's very laid back and very glamorous. He's kind of the pretty boy, isn't he? He's kind of the character everyone wants to be as well, I think. But he's kind of obviously taken up by revenge, isn't he, ultimately? But revenge for his family, and he's doing the right thing. Look at the size of that moon over there, I think you can see it. And it's always when you're filming, isn't it, your local quiet country road with all the litter. But it suddenly becomes a motorway, doesn't it? But yes, what fragrance would Oberon have? For Oberon, I think it's quite obvious. It would have to be like a very kind of bombastic, mass appealing one everyone loves, but still very elegant and classy and beautiful. And obviously, first of all, I thought of Aventus, but I think Aventus is a bit too common for him, really, isn't it? So I've gone for the other big superstar fragrance, and that's Baccarat Rouge 540 from Maison Francis Kurkdjian. And the reason I picked that fragrance is because it's kind of got that very sitting in the middle kind of fragrance, isn't it? It's for everyone. It's very elegant, it's very loud, it's very seductive, it's obviously very classy, and it's something everyone likes to smell, and it's something that pretty much anyone who smells it will want to bury their nose in your kind of fragrance, isn't it? So for Oberon, I've picked Baccarat Rouge 5. So many characters I love in that show, but trying to just pick my particular favourites that probably aren't often talked about, I'm gonna go for Bronn, who again is another man of the people. He's quite rough, he's quite selfish, he's quite your kind of typical guy, isn't he, really? In that type of time, you think about kind of a hired mercenary. He's still got a conscience, but he's very popular. He kind of ultimately just lives for the money, doesn't he, and the ladies. So what I've picked for Bronn would so wear this fragrance. His Office for Men from Jeremy Fragrance, he would so wear it, just to get the skirt as such, wouldn't he? to be out with the lads, smell good, be loud, be the heart and soul of the party. Everyone can smell him, everyone knows he's there. So yeah, another brief one, that's Bronn, and that's Office. The last one in this section is my favourite character, and that is of course Varys. Varys is possibly the most mysterious of all the characters, given you don't know a lot about where he's from or who he is. But what you do know is his motives are ultimately for the kingdom, for the whole concept of the kingdom being about kind of for the people. It's not for the ruling classes, although that's who he serves. His ultimate goal is to make sure the best person is on the throne, not necessarily the right person or the most moral person, but the person that's going to serve the kingdom the best. And obviously Varys is from faraway lands. He had quite a troubled childhood where he was maimed and sold, and there's lots of theories about where he might really be from and who he really is. But ultimately the Varys' sole purpose isn't for himself. He's well aware from the beginning he's going to die, and he knows he will never have power. So for me, he's my favourite character. He's kind of the good guy, isn't he? Although he doesn't always go about it in the right place. And I also suspect a lot from the books is that he could be a bit of a faceless man, given he can kind of hide his identity and creep around the kingdom. And he's a really interesting character, isn't he? But one of the things that's mentioned quite a lot in the books, again not so much, there's no detail in the show, is kind of that he always smells quite perfumed, quite lovely. But obviously while he's mingling in with the crowds, he wears different, you know, he's a good master of disguise, let's say. So the fragrance I've picked for Varys is Killian's Rolling in Love. And that again is quite a soft, beautiful, floral, but almost like a better than skin kind of smell, isn't it really? It's just this really beautiful, elegant, gorgeous skin scent that gives off this really kind of warm, alluring, but inoffensive, and it's not loud kind of smell, like I imagine Varys would, given I imagine he's actually quite a warm person as well. But anyway, I've whittled on quite enough. That's Killian's Rolling in Love for Varys.